Welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right in today because we've got a fascinating topic on our hands. We're looking at Si14 ENZ-CLEAN Pet. We're going to break down the actual science behind this totally unique spot cleaner, and we'll see exactly how it aims to completely redefine urban pet hygiene.
Seriously, think about this for a second. What if you literally never had to pick up after your dog again? I mean, for decades now, the reality of having a dog in the city has meant remembering rolls of plastic bags, bending over, and dealing with the intensely unpleasant manual chore of picking up waste, right? It's messy, it requires physical contact, it creates so much plastic waste, and let's face it, absolutely nobody genuinely enjoys doing it. But what if that whole archaic process could be replaced with something completely touchless?
Well, enter the Si14 ENZ-CLEAN Pet Spray. This is an enzymatic spot cleaner designed specifically for breaking down organic matter, namely dog and cat waste, left behind in urban environments. Now notice that incredibly bold claim right there on the front of the bottle. Dissolves organic matter in 60 seconds. I know, it sounds almost like magic, doesn't it? Well, throughout this explainer, we're going to take a journey from that perceived magic right into the hard science of how this actually operates.
This represents a massive paradigm shift in waste management. Think about the traditional method. It inherently requires plastic bags, direct physical contact, and active manual labor on your part. But on the flip side, the Si14 approach is a completely touchless solution. It comes in a convenient little pocket format and relies entirely on biochemical breakdown rather than you doing all the heavy lifting. It's just a fundamental change in how we interact with our pets' waste in shared public spaces.
And the physical design? It is highly intentional. This is a super compact 20 milliliter premium pocket spray, and it features a heavy-duty carabiner clip right at the top. So this means you don't have to lug around a bulky, heavy bottle in your backpack. You can literally just clip it directly onto your dog's leash, hook it to your belt loop, or slip it right into your jacket pocket. It is built to integrate seamlessly into your daily walking routine without adding a single ounce of extra baggage.
So how do you actually use it? The whole user experience relies on basically zero effort. Step 1, aim the dispenser at the waste. Step 2, apply just 1 to 3 sprays, depending on the size of the mess. And step 3, and this is absolutely crucial to the whole system, leave it without mechanical action. You don't wipe it, you don't scoop it, you definitely don't bag it, you just apply the spray and walk away. The formula is designed to do the rest of the work entirely on its own.
Okay, so the big question is, how does leaving it actually work? How do we go from a simple spray to total disappearance? Well, the answer is enzyme technology. This is a contact-based process that uses a highly specific multi-enzyme Si14 complex. When those enzymes make contact with the waste, they act like microscopic scissors. They instantly start to biochemically break down the core components of the organic mass. They're specifically severing the bonds of the proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. So it's biology doing the dirty work instead of your hand inside a plastic bag.
Naturally, though, a liquid that rapidly dissolves organic matter right there on the street might make you instantly worry about harsh, dangerous chemicals. But actually, scratch that. It's the exact opposite. The formula relies on some very strict chemical boundaries. There is absolutely no aggressive chemistry here. No acids, zero chlorine. Because it relies on natural enzymatic action, it breaks down the waste without causing any damage whatsoever to the underlying surface. So whether that's city asphalt, paving stones, or a patch of green grass, it's totally safe. It's a highly targeted biological tool, not some kind of corrosive bleach.
Which brings us to the elephant in the room, and I know you've been wondering about it since we started. The marketing on the bottle loudly proclaims 60 seconds. So, does the waste literally vanish into thin air before your very eyes in exactly 1 minute? If we're going to truly understand this product, we need to address this directly and demystify what that 60-second claim actually means out in the real world.
So this timeline clears up the nuance perfectly. It shows the actual life cycle of the process. In the first 60 seconds, the active enzymes rapidly penetrate the mass, and that invisible biochemical breakdown officially kicks off. The reaction is initiated. Then over the following few minutes, the physical structure of the waste starts to disintegrate. It loses its form and transitions into a liquefied, unstable state. And finally, nature takes over the rest. Over the next 2 to 3 hours, the local microenvironment, along with natural air and moisture, completely destroys whatever tiny residues are left over.
So if you were to return to that exact spot a few hours later, the organic contamination has completely disappeared. There are absolutely no visible traces remaining on the ground. And crucially, there's no lingering unpleasant smell in the air either, because the specific proteins that cause those odors have been biochemically dismantled right at the source. The surface essentially goes back to its exact natural state. It literally looks as if nothing had ever been there in the first place. Now this brings us to a very practical everyday question. If you're using this spray every single time your dog goes to the bathroom, which is several times a day, wouldn't you just burn through a tiny 20 milliliter bottle in a matter of days?
Surprisingly, no. The estimated lifespan is actually 2 full months. A single 20 milliliter bottle is engineered to last for roughly 2 months of daily, standard urban use. And yes, that's even if you have a large dog. How is that mathematically possible from such a small container? Well, it all comes down to the formula's incredibly high concentration. You really only need a very tiny, targeted mist. Just 1 to 3 short sprays is all it takes because the active enzyme complex is so incredibly potent. It perfectly bridges the gap between advanced biochemical science and actual real-world value for the pet owner.
And knowing how efficiently it works, we can look at exactly where it's meant to be deployed. This product is specifically designed to tackle the unique, everyday hygienic challenges of urban infrastructure. It's highly effective for heavily trafficked urban sidewalks and paths where leaving waste is obviously a massive problem. It's ideal for shared apartment courtyards, dense residential areas, city parks, and those walking zones right outside building entrances. It's an environmental tool tailored exactly for the modern, fast-paced city landscape.
But right before we wrap up, it's super important to clearly define the functional boundaries of this spray. What it is a highly effective functional cleaner and a dedicated urban hygiene tool designed specifically for everyday pet owners. What it is not is a disinfectant. It's not going to sanitize a surgical surface to medical standards, It's not a veterinary medicine, and it is definitely not meant for general waste disposal like your household trash. It has a single, highly specialized job, and as the science clearly shows, it does that job remarkably well. Which leaves us with this final, somewhat provocative thought for today. With enzyme technology becoming this accessible, this efficient, and honestly, this environmentally friendly, are we actually looking at the end of the plastic bag era? I mean, as our cities get smarter, cleaner, and more integrated, it seems inevitable that how we care for our pets has to evolve right alongside them. This little 20 milliliter bottle might just represent the dawn of truly smart urban pet ownership. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I highly encourage you to keep questioning the everyday processes around us, because as you'll see, sometimes the very best solutions are just brilliant science disguised as magic. See you next time.